Still no sign of little Maleah Davis nearly 3 weeks after she went missing.
Her stepfather, Derion Vence, is locked up, charged in connection with her disappearance. But now, Vence's own father speaking out saying there's no way he did anything to Maleah.
Well, guys, he says his son loves Maleah, and tonight he's insisting that his son is innocent. It's been nearly 3 weeks since 4-year-old Maleah Davis was last seen with stepfather Derion Vence. Houston police say they believe this is the last known picture of Maleah. She is still missing. Vence is locked up in jail for allegedly tampering with a human corpse in connection to her disappearance.
I just feel like they set him up some type of way.
Now we're hearing from Derion Vence's father, Joe. He Skyped with YouTuber Melvin Cedeno on his YouTube channel, iCkEdMeL Live. Joe Vence vehemently defends his son.
I know he didn't do nothing to her because he loves her. You know, he's been taking care of her since she was 1 year old.
Vence believes police need to ask Maleah's mom, Brittany Bowens, some tougher questions.
She told my son, like, the night of, like, I'm about to get a Lifetime movie off of this.
He says claims that Vence was abusive to Maleah and Brittany just aren't true.
Derion, he's not no violent type of person. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has no violent past at all. Why would you leave your child at home with him if he's doing all of these things?
HPD found blood linked to Maleah in the family home and signs Vence tried to clean it up. Surveillance photos show Vence walking into the house with bleach and walking out with a large black trash bag. Cadaver dogs were also triggered by the scent of decomposition in the trunk of his car.
He was actually doing laundry. He does the laundry.
Okay.
He cleans the house. He cooks. He takes the kids to daycare. He does all of those things.
Still, tonight, Derion Vence remains the prime suspect in Maleah's disappearance.
I believe my son is innocent, and I believe his story.
Today marks 20 days since little Maleah Davis was last seen alive, and the blame game over who is responsible for her disappearance is heating up.
Yes, we know about her stepdad. He's the only one charged in the case, but now his father is defending him.
He made some surprising statements in his first interview, and Larry Seward took some of those statements right to detectives. Larry?
Mia, Joe Vence told us that blood found in his son's apartment does not belong to Maleah, but to her brother. Investigators, though, told us tonight it is one of several claims that does not match evidence.
Derion Vence's dad,
thanks, Joe, for coming on,
told YouTube's iCkEdMeL channel.
My son is sitting in jail right now, devastated about his stepdaughter is missing.
His son is not only innocent, but victim of character assault by Maleah's mom, Brittany Bowens.
He loved that family. Like, he did everything to stay with the girl when we was trying to tell him, no, she's not right.
In this 40-minute interview, interviewer Melvin Cedeno.
There was a few things that didn't kind of, align with what we've been told.
Caught never heard before details. Joe Vence says his son initially helped Bowen and Maleah's biological dad search for the girl until they threatened Vence.
When he went out that first night to look for Maleah, he got mobbed. And then and then he didn't understand. He didn't trust her or her baby father because they came to him real crazy.
Vence also claims blood tied to Maleah found in his son's apartment hallway and bathroom and used to justify Derion's arrest came from another child.
It's her brother's blood from his toothbrush.
Detectives insist they tested for family DNA and stand by their warrant. They also stand by last week's search of a field along Derion's old post office route.
My son never worked on a post route ever in his life.
But Derion's dad says his son worked just 3 days for the post office through a temp service and never had one.
It's a father that's standing up for his son.
Cedeno wanted to hear Vence's side. Hundreds of viewers did too. More than anything, he's hoping all the chatter online helps find Maleah.
Talking to YouTuber iCkEdMeL about
YouTube's iCkEdMeL channel. Interviewer Melvin Cedeno.
With YouTuber Melvin Cedeno, his YouTube channel.
the iCkEdMeL YouTube channel run by Melvin Cedeno.
Hey, what's up? It's iCkEdMeL. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. And there is a Maleah Davis update with the case in Derion Vence. He pled guilty. And so I have a news clip video for us to watch. My feelings on that whole situation, that story, it's just all over the place. I couldn't even really summarize it. And I feel like that story is one of those things that you have to have had been there to know the insanity. I mean, sure, you can go back and look, but it was a big thing for Texas. Like, Maleah touched people in Texas, not only in Texas, but people in other countries, in other states. And I can only imagine, and I can't, how family and friends that actually knew her and dealt with her, and been in her presence and known her, dealt and like how they felt about that whole situation. Because I went kind of crazy. I had a lot of ups and downs with that story. There were things that I look back and I kind of wish maybe I did differently. You know, sometimes I reflect. There's some videos that I took down. There's some things I know I should have handled better. And I'm not somebody that believes in regrets. I just believe in learning and growing. But that situation profoundly affected me, and I'm just somebody on the outside. I can only imagine for the people on the inside, and I learned a lot. And it was just, I mean, I was snapping, I was blowing up, I was doing things that I probably shouldn't have done, say. Before I get into savage mode, I just want you to take a quick, good look at these pictures that these, I guess, the family posted, right? Does this child look happy? I had her laughing, but it didn't last long. He put all smiles. And look in that middle picture specifically. Doesn't she look traumatized? While this guy here is smiling, he's putting on a fake smile. Especially when you know, the constant updates and you're finding out the conditions and where she was found and the road, and just even just Maleah's history is disturbing. I have a playlist. You can go and check it out. Her history and the images and the pictures. The things that the mother, Brittany, went and said while she was standing talking to the press with Quanell, that she was stating and accusing Derion of. The next clip is confirmation where she admits that the guy, the stepfather, was beating the girl. She claimed she was uncomfortable. They had heated discussions. This is what they're saying. Like, really beat her to the point where there's bruises and stuff like that. So I'm going to roll that clip for you. And just keep in mind that she decides to tell these people 6 days later. Meantime, she was lying to everybody, the hospital, CPS, everybody.
Something else we want to share with you. The mother had heated words with him in the past about him physically whooping and spanking young Maleah. That the mother felt she was too small for him to use, or for him to spank her in the method in which he was spanking young Maleah. This was a very small, fragile child, a very young baby, and she was a special needs child. And she confronted him about bruises on Maleah. And she said, "I'm taking my baby to the hospital." He told her, "No, you're not. That I'm not going down for this." The mistake she made at that point was not going to the hospital immediately about the abuse.
When did that happen?
This was months ago. This was months ago. This was months ago. This was months ago.
Yeah. But there's more. No. We're actually still not done. Don't leave. Don't click off the video. Yeah. Oh, there's more. It's quite interesting 6-7 days later that now they're admitting all this. It's very interesting. And this happened months ago, the beatings. I'm sure it's been happening since she was a little girl, years and years ago, but we're going to downplay it. Just say it's been a couple months, that's it. Don't want to make her look too bad, you know what I'm saying? Well, the next part is the things that I've been talking about, okay? And from what I see online, most people don't buy the stories. Most people think she's been covering up, but this next clip is the confirmation that they believe she's been getting by this guy.
Also, there were times where he would say she was at daycare, but he would bring her back, not drop off at daycare, but bring the child back here to the home with him. There's reason to believe, based on what I know now, that there's issues of him possibly molesting young Maleah, the stepdad, because he would sneak that child home and bring her back here and not tell the mother.
So we're almost done, but not quite yet. You're going to want to listen to these two other clips. They're talking about Maleah being bathed by the stepfather, that the mother wasn't comfortable because that's not the father, which is completely legitimate. And I guess she did nothing about it, just like every single thing else. And when the reporter asks, well, why didn't you report this sooner? This was crucial. This is critical. The guy's response is she didn't want to believe that he would do something like this. Your daughter's getting abused. Your daughter's getting beat. You're covering up for him, saying he's falling off of the chair. I mean, there's just so much to this. You really expect people to believe that you just didn't want to think he would do this? That's literally what they said. Oh, and she doesn't say one word through this whole thing. She just keeps her head down like this.
She also confronted him about bathing Maleah. He would bathe Maleah, which was inappropriate. That's not his daughter. That's not his child. There was no need for him to be bathing her. There's a lot that the mother needs to share with law enforcement that she has not shared with law enforcement.
Why did she keep these facts a secret when it was so critical to the investigation?
The mother did not want to believe by any stretch of the imagination that this man was capable of what is obvious that is taking place here.
So they're basically confirming and telling us that this little girl is dead, has to be dead, okay? And the final clip that I want to roll for you, because I organized this for you in a certain way, because this is the whole reason that the mother finally had to put a stop to all this, that the reason the mother finally was done with everything. She was okay with the daughter getting abused, the daycare stuff, getting beat, getting head surgery, lacerations, half her skull off. Mom has no problem with that. But the final thing that really did it for the mother, this was the stopping point. This was ridiculous. Check it out.
That she had discovered these pictures of him sending penis shots to another man. And he kept trying to get her to call him back. He kept trying to get her to respond. And she would not respond. She told him that she was giving back his ring and that she was not going to marry him. And I believe that caused him to snap in anger against young Maleah.
And I was just so surprised that somebody could let those types of things go on and just be oblivious, or I don't know. It's a lot. And I mean, if you guys want me to do a recap one day, maybe I can do it. It will take a lot of time. But if you want to recap, maybe we'll talk about it. But and I'll talk a little bit more about my personal experience. But I'm going to play the news clip. And I just have to say, the pleading guilty and the years that he got, it doesn't, for me, I'm on the outside. I can't speak for anybody, family, nothing like that, friends. I'm just speaking for myself. It's not something I would think brings closure, or is like, oh, nah, I'm relieved. I've always felt like there's more than one person. There was more than just Derion involved in this. I've always had that feeling, and I think many people have had that feeling too. There was, oh my God, I'm looking at her face on the screen, and I remember too when I was going through that whole situation, I was covering the story, and I remember my daughter walked up to me one time and she was like, she thought it was her. Like, she thought I was the interview that I did with KHOU.
The response that you've heard or read from this interview.
The response has been mixed. Most people, from what I've seen, and it's been hundreds of comments, like over 1,000, like hundreds. Most people believe that you know, Derion had something to do with this. That's what they believe. But they also believe that Brittany was somewhat involved also. And the interesting thing was, from what I heard from reports, is that the whole hospital story, which there was contradictions on that, because at once Derion said he walked there. Then I heard another report that he said an unknown female dropped him off. And then I heard another report that police had footage that the car he claimed was stolen was seen on footage dropping him off at the hospital. And the thing ultimately too, what a lot of people are saying, okay, it's not just Derion, it's not just the mother, it's a lot of people that let this girl down. From CPS, right, with the I don't know how they would, I guess they wanted to reunite her with the family, how they would send her back. From the hospital, where she had multiple visits, she was lethargic. I've been in a hospital. If a child young, they have a head concussion, they hit themselves, they're throwing up, they're lethargic, they should be doing a CT scan. I found out she went multiple times. They didn't do it until the last time, where she was like vomiting, throwing up. So there's been so many places that this little girl was failed. And I'll tell you one final thing too. My daughter the other day, when I was working on this video, I had Maleah's picture on the screen, and my daughter was sitting on my lap, and she looked at Maleah and she pointed at her and she said, Madison, that's my daughter's name. Maleah looks so much alike like my daughter, and it was kind of freaky to me, and it just like, it made me kind of sad, and it was really surreal to see her pointing at that little girl, calling her Madison. When I told him that, it's true, my daughter really thought she was looking at a picture of herself. Kind of freaked me out. Anyway, let me get to this news clip, this update. And I don't like want to kind of make that stuff about me, but just to put it out there as somebody from the outside, somebody that's not even in that state, the effect it had on me. I mean, throughout the years I was talking about it. It was in 2019 the situation happened. I think it was it May 4th, 2019. So I could only imagine for the people locally in Texas, or family or friends, how they must have felt about it. So, yeah, let me play this clip.
She is the little girl who vanished from her Houston home, and after weeks of searching, her body was found along a highway in a different state. ABC 13 reporter Charlie Etzedy is live with what the district attorney announced just moments ago. And Charlie, Maleah really became Houston's little girl.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Melanie, this was just a heartbreaking situation, a story that gained national attention. We now know that the ex-boyfriend of Maleah Davis's mother now going to be spending the next 4 decades behind bars. So let's get to his mugshot here. This is 28-year-old Derion Vence, who has just pleaded guilty to tampering with a corpse and injury to a child. Now, it was back on May 4th, 2019, that 4-year-old Maleah, her little brother, and Vence were all reported missing, only for Vence and Maleah's little brother to show up at a hospital later that night, but no sign of Maleah. And the next day, an Amber Alert was issued for Maleah, and
that whole hospital situation to this day, it doesn't make sense. It's still weird. I'd have to go back because I don't remember specifically, but I thought I remember police saying they saw somebody dropping him off or something like that. He claimed he walked to the hospital, but I thought they said just dropped up. There had to be other people involved in this, my opinion.
Houston police, they revealed they have evidence that Vence lied about walking to a Sugar Land hospital after being kidnapped. And here is a look at part of their proof that they released to us. It is a picture of a gas can they say was found in the trunk of Vence's car next to a full laundry basket. Police want to talk to whoever gave it to him. Cameras at the hospital in Sugar Land, it showed someone dropping Vence off in that same car, the car he claimed stolen.
This guy Vence claimed that the Nissan Altima was stolen. That's the car that he owned. That same laundry basket that you see him walking out of the apartment with that suspicious garbage bag inside, well, they find that on Thursday in the trunk. Not only do they find that, they find a gas can, bro, in the trunk. I'm just like, this is just getting crazier and crazier, just spinning out of control.
kicked off a frantic and massive search. And there were some very bizarre twists and turns in this case, including some chilling surveillance video of little Maleah with Vence, apparently from May 3rd, which was the day before she went missing. Both of them seen walking in their apartment complex, and these are the last known images of this little girl alive. Just incredibly tragic. Now, the mother of Maleah, she was out of state, and so that's why Maleah was staying with Vence for a couple of days. And in the weeks,
which there was a whole conspiracy and theory. People were talking about whether she was out of state or not. There were some people that I was talking to, like YouTubers back then. I stayed to myself, but back then I was talking to some people. I mean, I don't know. If you guys want to recap, we can. It would be very extensive. The story really twist and turn, and it was crazy. So it would be a lot to bring all that into play in one video.
after Maleah's disappearance, there again was a massive search to find her. Eventually, her remains were found by the side of the road in Arkansas about a month after she disappeared. Now, District Attorney Kim Ogg, she did share a statement on this guilty plea saying children are the most vulnerable members of our community and young Maleah's death is tragic. We may never have all the answers.
But at the same time, these people, the judges, they failed Maleah. I don't remember correctly, but I know there was a situation where she hit her head. There's pictures, and I think it was CPS got involved. We didn't have access to all the public records. I did some pretty extensive videos. I would really have to go back and look. But she was failed previously, Maleah. It was a roller coaster. If you weren't there for that, then you don't know what I'm talking about. If you were there for that, comment down below. Like, there was people, it was just crazy
in this case, and our thoughts are with her family. Now, Vence was sentenced to 40 years for intentional injury to a child and 20 years for tampering with a corpse, and will serve both of those sentences at the same time.
So the 40 years and the 20 years, serving them consecutively, meaning just 40 years. The thing I'm wondering about that too, is he going to get out on parole? Is he really going to serve 40 years, or is he going to get out earlier than that? And there's things that I've heard behind the scenes, but I'm not going to put that out there. But it just feels like there was more people involved in the story.
Just another tragic update in this awful case, and I think that District Attorney Ogg really said it best, that we may never have all the answers in this
Definitely
case.
Not.
It's just so incredibly sad to think about what happened to this little girl. We're live from downtown Charlotte City, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, Charlie, it was such a heartbreaking story, and at least a lot of people are now feeling as though she will get some justice. But the one question that I've often asked by people, what about the mother? Was there any decision at any point perhaps to bring charges against her?
At this point, Mel, it doesn't appear that that has happened. And so, we're just going to have to wait and see on that. And actually, we have not heard very much from Maleah Davis's mother since the weeks after her body was found. And so, we're just going to have to wait and see what the courts decide to do with that.
All right. Thank you.
And I guess that's it. I could talk about this and comment on this probably for a very long time. I'm not even sure I want to revisit and do a recap. I think it was that moment in time. Is this justice? Comment down below. Is this the beginning of justice? Is this better to have something than nothing? Is the full story out? The whole thing personally took me through a journey, and I'm just one person, one guy, one dad in another state. I really feel for Maleah. And like I said, I've done things that I probably shouldn't have done, probably shouldn't have said, and I've learned a lot from that experience. And we'll probably revisit the story. Who knows? Is this really the end? I don't know. Condolences to the family. yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So take care of yourselves. Appreciate the support. Peace.
So are you a journalist, sort of? What are you? How do I describe you?
I'm a YouTuber, and I've just been on this weird journey where I started from baby products to covering stories. And I don't know that I could call myself a journalist, because there's people that are really professionals like you guys that really like study it. And I love covering these kind of stories, especially with kids involved. I don't know what I am. I'm just on this YouTube journey. One day I would like to make this a career, you know, hopefully reporting and covering stories and making like a difference. That's what I want to get to. Ultimately, I want to get to the point where like there's a missing girl, a missing boy. I can talk about it and it makes waves. Right now, I have to stick to the story that's popular in order to maybe kind of make waves, you know? So hopefully one day I can do that.
Very good. Well, wish you luck. Thanks.
You,
man.
Tell them to subscribe. 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 How many subscribers do we need? I say 15,000. 15,000 subscribers. 15,000. That's what baby says, my baby girl.